On. You look sexy.
Hey, everybody. Hello and welcome back. Thank you for being here. Hi, Maree, and hi, Jazzy.
Yay. Hi, Elisa.
Um,
Hi, everyone.
so, if you're new here, thank you for being here. I hope you enjoy the content. And if you do, we would love to get a like and a subscribe if possible. So, today we're going to talk about limiting beliefs because there's millions of them. And I had to work through a lot of those to get to where I am today. And now I'm working through a whole bunch of others that appeared. It's peeling the onion. And it's funny, as I went through the week, it was like, oh, that's another loot. And that's another one. Unfortunately, I didn't write it down, which I should have. But
Mhm.
hopefully, I will remember during our conversation.
Yeah. And also, if anyone else has been sort of thinking about this and have some ideas, pop them in the comments because it's really good. We've all had personal experiences and we've gone, oh, this is what I actually have been thinking and I need to change that. So put them into the comments, definitely, and we'll look at them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Today is a day to share, share, share,
Mhm.
share things that you've learned. And so, because I feel like by sharing, we're going to help everybody else. So, yeah. So anyway, before we get started, how's everything in Australia? Anything new going on over there?
Yeah, well, we had you probably heard about the Bondi Beach episode that happened. Okay, so this was probably now about 2 months ago, and there was a Jewish. They were doing a Jewish celebration at the Bondi Beach, and there was two particular people that belonged to a particular religious political group that starts with I, and they got some and did some damage. So it was all what we call an FF because that allowed the current government to try and bring out this new safe speech, no, anti talking. Oh my God, they're happening again. This is amazing. You never know when it's going to happen. I love it. So, but it was all hot air, just with what those balloons did, because it was so there was so many people against it, and it was very, very broad, and it could have been taken in any context. So anyone that was that was a true journalist, the ones that we tend to maybe watch, that tell truth and whatever's going on, they would have been the ones that got put down. And there was what they did was in this speech freedom or this speech thing, they were actually protecting the religious people, and they could say whatever they wanted. They could do their rhetoric that they have. I'm trying to do this all very, very low key. And so it was just vetoed. Everyone just went no. Even the government sides that are very pro that actually said no. So that got done, and it was, which is pretty amazing. But we're all just watching the space and just seeing what happens. So what they do in the UK now, I don't know if you know, but there's been 12,000 people at least that have been done for even putting out memes about anything, and they're in prison. That they had it passed, this particular law. So at that stage, so for this stage, we're actually okay right now. So yeah, it's interesting to watch this space. So that's been the highlight here in Australia.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Is it true that that the digital ID was implemented over there?
So they did it to keep children 16 and under safe, so that, oh God, stop it. Just, again, it was in the end, it was all hot air, because of course they're so tech savvy, they're so tech smart that they were sending the Prime Minister and the Karen, we call her the Karen, because she's trying to stop all of this stuff. They were sending them memes through the sites they were meant to not be on, telling them how they got around it all and go away and all of this. So it's been pretty funny. And yeah, so no, that's just been, I think, put on hold at the moment as well. but they have implemented it for if you're meant to be at 16 or under, but it's not really working. And yet they could get onto sites that are, like, all your YouTubes and all of that, they couldn't, but you can get onto other adult sites, if you know what I mean, without any restrictions. So it was just ridiculous. The whole thing was a scam. It's a Trojan horse. But
Wow.
people have got around that. The kids have got around it usually. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So it has not been implemented for adults.
Not at this stage, no.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So, okay. So we can talk about limiting beliefs if you want. Mm-hmm. So you want to start?
Sure. So I guess when I was looking into this, oh my God, it's raining and my clothes are outside. Can you give me 1 minute, please?
Sure.
Because give me a second.
Yeah.
I'll let you start.
So Christine was saying, let me put that up because. So Michael Singer audiobooks help me change perspective on limits, untethered soul, and living from a place of surrender. Highly recommend. Oh, wow. That's great. Thank you for letting us know, Christine. That is great. That is awesome. And I'll leave that for Maree when she comes back. So one of the limiting beliefs I thought was interesting was believing the past is fixed. So we create our reality from our beliefs, and our beliefs are based on our past. So if we believe the past is fixed, when we are multidimensional beings, then you can't change what happened to you, but in the end you can, right? And this, could completely shift the way that we act every day, the way that we react when people say things or do things to us. So I think that's pretty big, that specific belief of believing the past is fixed. So it was something that I did want to bring up because it's huge, and it comes from my mentor, Octavia Vasile. So I am going to put that on here. So my team belief is believing the past is fixed.
Ooh, I like it.
Yeah. So, and I left that up for you so you could read it when you came in. From Christine.
Okay.
Okay. So, when we believe the past is fixed, right, then we are creating from that space of the past. And it's not, the past is not fixed. You can you can actually change that, and your whole reactions to things can change completely. It can change your life just by changing that one belief.
I love this. And what it brings us back to is that time isn't just linear. So because we're in this space and time to experience things that are slowed down. However, in truth, there's no such thing as time. Mm-hmm. So that's why when we do the work with lineage or with other realms or other timelines per se, we can change everything. I love that. That is so cool. And that's the sort of work, the inner work that we can do with ourselves, our shadow side. And we're here to do a lot of that lineage work as well. Yes. It changes everybody, for every soul's experience.
Yeah, absolutely. And another limiting belief that's kind of as just like this one is believing when you wake up that you're back into your 3D life. Like you literally, would you create a 3D life because you believe you're living a 3D life?
Yeah.
So that's also a limiting belief.
Absolutely. And that's consciousness. and that's remembering who we truly are, that we are this amazing divine creator within a physical body, just having this experience, but we can make it whatever we choose to, depending on our consciousness, is how I perceive it. And so if we know we're unlimited, then that's what happens. And moment to moment, we've seen this with synchronicities, with things we create, with how things pan out. And when I know for myself, when I change something deep within my subconscious, it's reflected back to me very, very differently to how it used to be. And you watch it happen. It's like little miracles, what we would call miracles almost.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. There's a book called Waking Up in the 5D by Maureen St. Germain. Highly recommend that. Highly recommend that. Because we have the assumption that we're waking up in 3D, and we don't have to do that, because then we just repeat the same story over and over again, right? The same hamster wheel. All right. So yes. So Christine was saying that, yes, these books are all about consciousness and who we really are, the observer, not the mind thoughts, not the emotions, observer of the experience. Awesomeness, awareness. So good.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it can be difficult to be the observer because we are human. So we do have these emotions, and having a reaction to a situation is, I feel it's one of my great little leaders or knowings that, oh, there's something going on in me. I want to go in and do some observing of me and what's in my subconscious and what's in there that needs to be looked at. And so emotions to me are my guidepost. So yeah, that's so true, Christine. And it can be very difficult to be the observer. And I don't know if you guys have tried this, is actually when you're meditating or contemplating, is being the observer of the observer, and it changes it again. So yeah, it's
very, very, yeah, exactly. Very, you can take it's like twisting your mind in a pretzel kind of thing, you know?
Correct.
Yeah, absolutely. And so Dennis is saying, believing the path is fixed is saying you have no way to change it. To me, that's a problem. I do solutions, not problems. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes. And let's see, Joyce was saying, just because your kin have a physical ailment, that means it's inevitable. You'll get it to limiting belief. Yes.
I love that.
Yes. So, okay. So that's a great conversation right there, because I myself don't believe there's are such thing as genetic, things that we pass down, like breast cancer and all this stuff. Personally, my belief is that is not genetic. That is happening to the person because they saw their mom going through that, and doctors told them it's genetic by having those two limiting beliefs. Therefore, you create the third belief, which is, I'm going to get it. And at that point, guess what? That's a self-fulfilling prophecy. It becomes true. You get it. And so the belief is generated as this keeps happening, that it's genetic. But I do not believe it's genetic at all.
Yeah, it's interesting because with genetics as well, there's something they've actually found through science called epigenetics, which you would have heard of. And epigenetics is almost like a trigger that sits around the DNA. And when we have an emotional experience or something that triggers us, it can activate that within the DNA. So that's why it's so important to use our emotions as a guide and not to let it, how they say, first of all, you get the feather, then you get the brick, and then you get the semi-trailer, like as far as tower moments go. So if we can really be awake and aware to when the feather comes through, we actually do the work with that. And that's what's shifting genetics and lineages as well, is epigenetics. And this is some of the work I love doing the most with people and with myself, is actually helping to release that through lineage. I've seen someone go through a crisis when they had an epigenetic activation, and we worked with it. We worked out where it came from. We cleared it. And then she was able to go off all medication. So, it's so powerful. And I think And it's interesting because I pulled some cards as on this question and when you were talking. And the first one that came up is our Three of Wands, which is taking action to look towards the future and letting the past go. So apt for this. And they were all Wands cards, which is really rare. King of Wands, we are the master of taking action in our lives to change what is going on. We got the Ace of Wands. We are all powerful. And this is truth, what we're talking about. And it's creating balance. The Two of Wands. So it's finding the balance in our world to stay in a place where those triggers, they actually don't work on that physical world. So I think it's amazing that there was 4 Wands cards and they were all very relevant to what we were talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. So definitely let go of any of those ideas of oh, my parents had it, or there's cancer in my lineage, and any of that. Just let it go. Just let it go. It's again, every single second is a brand new reality. Like it doesn't, every single second is brand new. Every single second is brand new. So none of that, you don't have to take that with you anywhere. That's part of the past that we need to just leave behind. Like there is no, that's not your past anymore. You have a new, there is no past. That's it. There's only the now moment. So don't take it on. Don't own it,
Yeah. And as a nurse, it was interesting because I worked in theatres and recovery room for quite a while, and I used to watch who would come through and what, dis-ease they had and what surgery had been done. And I started to notice a real pattern because you'd often get to meet the family or you'd whatever, and I could just see these patterns playing out within families as well and belief systems. And this was years ago. I'm talking 25 years ago. I noticed this, and it was like, whoa, okay, there's something in this. So
yeah,
it wasn't
absolutely.
genes. This was patterning. This was belief systems. This was,
Yes.
Our mind is so powerful, and our subconscious.
It's so powerful, and that's what I saw. And I already knew, of course, before I went to the Dr. Joe Dispenza conference. Wow, seeing people walking out of wheelchairs, seeing a woman that her thyroid was completely grown back. Think about it. Do you think how many limiting beliefs she had to let go of in order to do that? I mean, the limiting belief that, oh, you can't regrow a thyroid, right? You can't regrow. They tell you can't regrow cartilage. Heck yeah, you can. Absolutely, you can. As a matter of fact, I've heard you can grow limbs if you believe it.
Yep. I know.
It's
we're powerful. We're a hologram, so of course we can work with
exactly.
anything within the template. It's
Yes.
we can do this. We can do this. We know we can do this.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that would be another limiting belief that we can let go of, which is, one of them is believing everything doctors say. They're not gods. They were taught by a system that was rigged in the first place. And so they have beliefs that are based on what they learned, right? And so unfortunately, a lot of those are not real or true. So
Exactly.
yeah, absolutely. So let's see. Dennis was saying, your past has made us who we are today. We have the present moment now to change what we didn't like. The future is what you'll make of it. Absolutely. And Joyce was saying, I refuse to age. That's another limiting belief I've let go of completely. So if people ask me how old I am, I say I'm ageless. I
Yeah,
don't give
beautiful.
an age. And if they want to know, I say, well, I was born in 1969 if you want to know my age. But they
Yeah,
have to figure it out.
exactly. Yeah, and it's true. It's because we've been indoctrinated since birth, about this. And it's interesting because, again, as a nurse, I would watch some doctors give people that had a disease, a terminal disease, time. Well, you've maybe got 6 months to the day, 6 months. This is it. The trust that some people have around this is, yeah, it's a bit sad. So
It is a bit sad, and they are killing people doing that.
mm,
I had heard of a study that they did in the past where in Canada, back then, they were not telling you how much time you had left to live. But in the
yeah,
US, they do. And people would last for years and years and years because they weren't giving that time frame. And in the
and
US, people
that's
just believe
crazy.
it.
But imagine if they told them, "Oh no, this is not a death sentence per se. This is no, you're fine. You'll get through this." Imagine if they were saying that to people.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And yeah, so what is yeah, so Jimmy was saying, and we're taught to indoctrinate our children, then do a ritual with cake and candles, right? Of course, and that of course was on purpose. This is all programming. We've been programmed from the beginning, and that's why I felt that I wanted to do this show, is because we got to break these programs down. We've got to break these programs down. And so I feel like if we all together get together and start saying, oh, this limiting belief, that limiting belief, this limiting belief, that, then we're going to be going through this and going like, okay, I think I can let that one go. Right?
Yeah, yeah. And what do we need to replace it with something? With our subconscious. We need to be mindful that it doesn't hear don'ts or have nots. It only focuses on the positive. So, do we replace it with a
I
positive belief system?
I don't know. I personally, I don't think we should have any programs. We should be in
Mm,
the now moment,
limitless.
limitless, limitless. I think any program really is going to. I mean, think of Jesus. Like,
Mm.
what limiting beliefs did he? What programs did he have? I don't think he had any programs other than I am unlimited and I can do anything.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
And
all you
and
need.
exactly. And Jesus also was meant to have said that you too can do what I do and more.
Mhm.
So it's giving permission. So it's almost like we need to give ourselves permission to be able to do all of that and be all of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely, Jim. And we can do what he did and even more, like Maree said, right? So, do you have any others? I have more here to share if you don't have any.
Yeah, I think to me, when I looked at it, they come from the core place. What I'm sort of seeing that these limiting beliefs come from is self-esteem, self-love, self-worth, and faith. So they're the limiting belief systems, and then everything that comes from those somehow has a link back in to that core issue. Like, even not believing that we're worthy to be here. You know, it's, yeah,
Mhm.
having this experience on earth, it's like,
Yeah,
oh, I'm not worthy
yeah.
to
But a
be
lot
this
of
divine
people don't even
being.
know a lot. That's a subconscious belief more than anything,
Yeah,
right?
it is.
So the limiting beliefs that we're going to see here are mostly going to be the ones that people know about. But the ones that are subconscious, those are a lot deeper. And a lot of people do not know they don't feel worthy. A lot of people don't know that they're not willing to receive. I didn't know until somebody told me that. It
Yeah.
was like, I was talking to this person and she was like, Elisa, you're just not willing to receive. And I'm like, what? And it was all about like, yeah, if somebody asks you, can I carry your luggage? And you're like, no, I can do it myself. Well, okay, you're not receiving, you know. It's also if somebody gives you a compliment,
Yeah.
if somebody, what are you not receiving? What are you, somebody tries to pay you for doing something for them, and you're like, no, no, no,
Hmm.
you need to
I know.
receive.
And I still have some issues with some of those things. It was lovely the other day. Kylie was picking up this couch from a friend, and this one of the neighbors came over to do something, and he said, "Oh, do you want a hand with that?" And I went, "Absolutely, get over here, Mr. Muscles." I went, "You know what? There's a guy, he wants to help. Absolutely." The others were going, "Oh, no, we'll be right." I was going, "No, no, get over here." And I went, "Gosh, the difference for me from how I used to be." It
Me
was like,
too.
it made his day. I know it did. It was like, oh, I've got to help. And so it's giving others the opportunity to have that beautiful feeling of helping as well. So yeah, it was lovely. It was like, oh, I never thought I'd get to this day.
Right, exactly. And and again, that's really that's a subconscious one, because you're not going to know, you're not willing to receive, you're not going to do it on purpose. I can't imagine you would do it on purpose. So I feel like definitely that's one of those subconscious ones that creep up on you, and you just don't even know that's what you believe, you
Yeah.
know it's crazy.
And also the one where, if people offer to pay, for me, it's like, oh, I don't want to put you out. I don't know if you've got enough to do that. So in a way, my limiting belief system is that they're not abundant, that they're not able to do that. So it's like, whoa, hang on a minute, see them and treat them as abundant, and then it's multiplied for them as well with their giving.
Exactly. That's big. That's really big, to not project what you believe onto other people,
Mhm.
right? Because then you are limiting them.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's subconscious, or that's something that it's always trying to care for other people, look after other people. Now that's got to stop. It's like, okay, do what's right for me. It always ends up being right for those around me.
Yes. And Dennis is saying that if I say it, think it, do it, I own it. Only I can make myself do anything. Of course, I have to believe in me first, then I can help others. Absolutely. And there's a very unlimited belief, right? That's a very unlimited belief. Only I can make myself do anything. So that's a good unlimited belief to have right there, right?
It's very empowered.
Yes, very empowered. And then Jimmy's saying, I have many close friends that struggle with accepting help or compliments because they were learned that it comes with a cord. Oh, yeah. Another limiting belief that it comes
True.
with a cord. It doesn't. It, you know, um, many of the times we have put these people in our lives so that we learn a lesson.
Mhm.
And sometimes we don't get it. Like it has to be put in our path over and over again for us to see it. So
And it's interesting because it could be, I remember this when I was younger, and I might go out to a bar and with friends, and then a guy would want to buy me a drink. And I'd always say no because I felt there'd be strings attached. Whereas I should have just gone, yes, thank you, and then done what I wanted to anyway, But it's a really interesting societal subconscious, that one, as a
yes,
female is like,
yes,
well, what do I owe you for that?
yes, yes. And I do know there are certain men that do expect something in return.
Yeah.
There are some men that do expect something in return. But does that mean that you have to give it to them? No.
No. And it might be really good that you shatter their limited beliefs about that by
Yeah.
not doing it.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I'm sure it's hard for the guys that, like Jim, I know Jim is like somebody, a beautiful soul that will give to people, without expecting anything in return. So there are some guys that I'm sure have a hard time with this, where they want to give, but then the woman's like, oh no, what does he want?
Yeah. But I think when it gets to the point, what I'm just getting with that is when we get to that consciousness, when we're trusting our intuition, it's like we will bring into our path whoever will be able to accept without ties, because we're giving without ties, and we feel that we deserve to have someone accept it. And it's a consciousness again. It
well,
comes back
so very good. So Jimmy needs to let go of the limiting belief that women are going to expect something in return, right?
Mm-hmm.
If he's got that limiting belief, I don't know if he does or not, but if there are any men watching, let go of the limiting belief, if you have it, that women are going to be expecting to have some, like that you have something to give them, like they owe you something. So bring into reality women that are going to accept it with gratitude and grace, right?
And the other thing is there's a limiting belief that men should pay for things because they've always been the providers, or financially, or whatever that societal expectation is. Again, sometimes it might be nice to just for the woman to pay, or to go halves if that's where you're at, but you'll just know it. It's like you have this beautiful intuition around it with no, oh, I don't deserve it, oh, I expect this. It's like a flow. It just feels right for both parties.
Yeah, that's a tricky one, of course,
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Because I am at the level where I've let go of a lot of self-worth issues and limiting beliefs. And now what I want is a man that's going to take care of me, and it's going to treat me like a queen. And because that's what I deserve now. This is where I'm at in my life, where it's like, I deserve the best. I deserve to be treated, to be pampered, to be, and I never thought this way before. But now this is what I'm doing it for myself. I pamper myself. I give myself. So now I'm expecting that of whoever comes, and is going to be my partner, if that ever happens.
Yep. Well, the thing is too, then what'll happen is you'll attract someone that wants to do that because they love the feminine. They love the divine feminine. And as much as they respect that, the female then respects however you want to do it, whatever sort of relationship we're talking about, the feminine then absolutely respects the divine masculine and allows them to express. And we can express both. We know that.
Yes.
We can be both, whichever one sort of fits more into that relationship.
Yes, absolutely. And I've been in my masculine most of my life. So this is me. Yeah, this is me moving into the feminine side of me that is saying now, like, okay, I let go of that idea. It's okay for the man. And it's funny because it was the same woman that showed me that I was not receiving. She's the same woman that said, Elisa, men want to provide. Like most men want to provide for you. They want to take care of you. They want to be your protector. They want to be this and that. And I'm like, and you're not allowing them to, and it's in your energy field. So then they're not going to approach you because you're not approachable in that sense. Like men that want to provide aren't going to come to you because you're pushing the energy of, I don't need to be provided for.
Yeah.
Right.
Love it. It's
so she showed me like that this is a belief that I had, and I quickly changed that.
And, I think 90% of change is actually being aware of something. This is, and then the 10% is then taking the action to follow that.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see what Jim has to say. I had a combo about something similar, and an Alan Watts video came in my feed. It was exactly what I was conveying to a friend of mine. I'll send it to you, Elisa. Okay, thank you. And Angel Lori, it looks like she's also working on her soft girl too. We all came with this warrior princess like complex of like, And yeah, so a lot of the messages I received was to be in my feminine, that I needed more of my divine feminine. And so that's what I've been working on. And when you're a very masculine girl, and I've always been girly girl, I like earrings, I like makeup, whatever, right? But the way of being very strong and forceful, and this needs to get done and I get it done and I don't take breaks and blah blah, that manly, that masculine energy. um I actually had to look up how to be feminine. Like, what does a feminine woman do? Like, what?
That's so funny. But it's true because, because everything changed and, the females, they were taken out of the nurturing role and
Yeah.
had to go to work and all of this side of it.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
And I think, so it created this confusion and the males were going, well, hang on, what's our role then? So there's been this confusion. So now it's just dropping back into the heart and what feels right intuitively, which way do we actually go to experience it intuitively? So, and I love what Christine's written there as
Yeah,
well.
I know. I was just reading that. Yeah. So, Christine, this is why I wanted to have this show, because as we're saying things, we're helping each other realize things, right? And so when somebody mentions that, it's like that light bulb moment that comes off, and you're like, oh, I'm doing that. So that was the
Absolutely.
idea. Yeah. Yeah,
Love it.
absolutely. And let's see, Jim, I am similar. I'm coming into my divine feminine side. I get some pushback from people that do not understand, but it is valid. And for me, that's fine. I can be a warrior if I need be. Yeah, and that's beautiful, Jim, because not a lot of men are willing to step to their feminine side. So I mean, just kudos to you um for doing that, because it takes guts to be a feminine man, right? To have the feminine balance with the masculine. Like when I see men with like a necklace or beads or like bracelets, I'm like, yes. Like, you
Yeah.
know, like I love that. I love the balance when they're being balanced. It's just so beautiful. Um
But it's interesting because I've watched like friends of mine that have had children and watched them growing up, and some of the one or two of the dads I've watched were like, don't hug your friends, your male friends, when they're young because and I'm just like, oh my God. So they're taught from a very young age not to be vulnerable, not to show your emotions. So, and it's just one comment like that can just change a child's life where they don't hug their friends. And I'm like, oh, do you know what you've just done?
yeah.
But it's been just brought through. This is how a male should be. And so it's fantastic when people like Jim are going, like, let's break these belief systems and
Yes.
be who we're meant to be, which is this beautiful balance of both. But it takes more
Yes.
courage to be vulnerable than it does to be hard. Like, it's
That's
just
very true. That's very true. That is so true. That's a good statement right there, for sure. So yeah, and a lot of limiting beliefs come from our childhood, right? What our parents told us, what our brothers and sisters told us, what our friends in the playground told us, what our teachers told us. So it's about kind of going back and really seeing, like, what was I told, and I can let it go. I don't have to believe that anymore, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it's funny, I don't know if I've told you this one, but it was so weird. I always had like messy handwriting. I don't know why. I just couldn't quite work out how to do neat handwriting. And we used to walk to school, and I was walking across the field one day and I found this pencil and I went, oh, this pencil looks beautiful. So I picked it up, went, oh, that's amazing. And from then on, when I wrote with that pencil, my handwriting was neat because my mind said this is almost like a magic pencil, and it was incredible. I'll never forget that feeling or that moment. And I was probably only about 7 or 8. Yeah, so it's incredible how powerful one thing that's put into our path can change a whole belief system.
Yes. Yes, that's so beautiful. And nothing stops us from doing that as adults, right? As
No.
adults either. That's the beauty of this simulation. There's so much that you can do, that we are unlimited, and we are limiting ourselves with these programs. So many programs that we have in there. And if you can really sit down, and I say it like your reality is a feedback loop. Your reality is a feedback loop. It tells you exactly what it is that you believe or don't believe.
Perfect. Absolutely perfect. And it's interesting because, we're given these roles in life. So let's say, take, for example, I was a nurse, and then you have your doctors, and then you have your patients. And so you're sort of like an advocate for the patient, but you sort of got to do what the doctor tells you in a way. And then one day I was just so over this particular doctor being really mean and really bullying. And so I just stood up to him, and he just was shocked. And then the next day he was so nice to me. And since that day on, I haven't been bullied like that. And this was when I was 20 something. But I just went, no more. And as soon as I stepped up and said it, it was like it stopped. And it's like now in my psyche, I'm not bullied anymore because it's in my psyche. I don't need that. Thank you, but no, thank you.
I have the same exact story. When I was a project manager, very young project manager, I had this one woman that was a capital B. And no matter what I did to try to please her, because I was a people pleaser, this woman was just capital B all the time. I could do no right. And one day I said, I'm done. And I told her, I said, I'm tired of your attitude, and it doesn't matter what I do, I can't make you happy. And ever since I stood up to her, she stopped. She stopped being a bully, because that's exactly what she was, a freaking bully.
Yep. So, and it's not just the fact that we've spoken to one person, that then is in our psyche. And it's like people read our energy. People subconsciously, our energy is being read. So people know. Yeah, it's almost like they're our little mirror. Like you said, the universe shows us where we're at.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Another limiting belief is that I'll be happy when it arrives. Right?
Yeah.
So a lot of people feel that they are waiting for this windfall of money to come in, and that they'll be happy when it arrives. Or a lot of women are stuck on getting a man, on manifesting a man. And it's like, what are you doing? So these there are some limiting beliefs that are out there. Why is it that you feel like you need a man? What is it that you're not giving yourself that you feel that you have to have a man in your life? And same thing for the men too. Some men have a hard time being by themselves after they get divorced. They got to have somebody else to come in and fill the vacancy. So it's paying attention to that, and understanding why is it that you feel you need something. Yeah.
What I tend to do is I just have a knowing that it's already here. And, everything's met, everything's provided for. And I've had so much magic in my life with the most extraordinary things happening to help me get through a situation where I went, oh God, I don't know what I'm going to do here. Okay, just trust, have faith. You always get looked after. Next minute, something really quite crazy comes in. And you go, yes. Oh, I never saw that coming. Thank you.
Yes, yes.
And surrendering and going into that faith.
And this is a great limit on limited, not unlimited. What was I calling it? Unlimited. Yeah, belief. Unlimited belief, right? Which is love yourself and the rest will follow. Yeah. I mean, that's exactly what Jesus did. It's that simple. And what I've noticed is when you love everything, what does the universe have to do? It has to give you love back. There is no choice, because you're pushing out love of everything that's in your life, or everything that happens to you in your life. Then the universe has to put that back to you, send that back to you, right? That energy, because it's a mirror. So it's about love. At the end of the day, all of it is, it's love. Always that's always a channeled message I get all the time when I'm struggling with something or anything. It always comes back. And Elisa, remember, it's about love. It's about loving the challenges, loving the good times, loving the bad times, all love, because when you push out love, love is what comes back. So it's
That's so
really
true.
simple. It's
It's
really simple.
interesting. I did an experiment with this. I know I was only about 21, 22. And so we used to go out to the pub on a Friday night with all our friends, and I'd get a bit bored. So I'd just go around the whole pub and I'd like pretend I'm interviewing people. And I'd ask them, I'd say, "Oh, do you love yourself?" And people go, "Oh, no, don't be so stupid. La, la, la. You know, that's egotistical." And so anyway, there was only one or two that went, "Yes, of course I love myself." And then I went away and I was traveling and I was overseas. It was probably about 6, 7 years later. And we were at the pub. I went, "Oh, I'm going to do my interviewing again." So I went round to everybody in the pub and I was asking, do you love yourself? Oh my goodness. Probably about 80% of the people that I asked this question to said, "Yes, of course I do." And it wasn't for years that I realized that I'd changed. So I was actually connecting with people that had actually did love themselves, because that's what I was actually putting out. It was a absolutely brilliant little research project that I didn't even know I was doing.
How interesting. Isn't that amazing?
Yep.
Isn't that amazing? That's awesome. I love that story. Okay, so what Angel Lori was saying, when relationships break up, females take time to heal, and most men jump right into the next situation with no healing. Yeah, and I mean, really, it depends. There is a trend there. I might have to kind of agree a little with you, but I don't want to, what's it called? Stereotype.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's what I've seen, at least in my reality. Maybe that's something I need to let go of believing, so I see something different, right? Um, yeah. Okay, so Jimmy, universe doesn't support that need; it opposes it. We need air, water, and love of self. The rest is a treat. Yes, absolutely, absolutely. So yes, we're vibing high today. Absolutely. That's what this is about. That's why we barely discussed the 3D, Jimmy. And because I could no longer keep watching the movie repeat itself over and over again and over again and over again and over again. I got old. So hopefully I'll get channeled ideas of what to talk about. But this is what came through was the limiting beliefs. And because I believe that this is really is what's holding us from shining our light, because it's our light that is going to win the war, nothing else. It's our light. Yes, there's some good military, doing stuff behind the scenes, and there's some people doing stuff behind the scenes. But at the end of the day, it will be our light that saves this planet. And so if we can figure out what is limiting us from being the most shining light we can be, then we are just igniting everybody else, right? We only need our little group here to make a difference in the world. So
that's so beautifully said. And it's so interesting because it's not just contained. And I was talking about this with Nick yesterday after the dream show. We're on a frequency band here. So this is going everywhere. It's not just to the people that watch this or all our words, all of our intentions. It just goes out into the ether and it spreads. That's how it works. It's bigger than we know.
Oh, thank you, Christina.
Hi, Christina.
I love listening to you ladies. I keep smiling as I'm listening and make me think about my life in a deep way. Thank you to both. Thank you very much. Yes. So, what other limiting beliefs have you been able to let go of? What programs were you running that you've let go of?
I think this applies for everyone as well, and for me, it was definitely whatever's within me is going to be reflected back. But then once I was aware of it, it just goes. And I didn't realize that. I was sort of acting a bit naive in some situations and just letting people get away with stuff. And it wasn't until I took some action, everything then changed. So my limiting belief was, oh, I can't control this. I don't have control over this situation. So I feel now that I've come into the knowing of, oh my goodness, I'm creating all of this. I have complete control. I simply have to step up and do something about it, take the action. And I think that's why all those wand cards came up earlier. We have to take the action. And we can do it from love. We can just do it so it empowers us, and then it changes. It's giving away our power. So giving away my power, even if I was a bit ignorant about it, no more ignorance.
Yeah, absolutely. That's huge. That's huge. That it's all us.
And doing something that I thought was unacceptable almost. It's like an unspoken rule. And then I went, no, I'm making my own rules. So it's really being uncomfortable sometimes for me and pushing myself into a whole new paradigm of thinking. That's where the challenge is.
Yes, absolutely. And let's see, Angel Lori, I've let go of the I don't deserve the best limiting belief. I also let go of the I've got to help everyone because I'm the only one person and everyone had their own lessons to learn. Absolutely. And that's huge, right? When we want to come in and save the earth and save everybody and help them. And yeah, no, no, that's a good way to burn yourself out. When in the end it's contracts. Everybody has their contract. Everybody comes here to experience something specific, and we have to just honor that and just again go back to love. Give them love. Just love them through it. Love them through it.
That's right.
So,
And if we need to take action in a situation where something is going on like that, you just do it.
yeah. Who knew that navigating this 3D was so simple? It's really all about releasing and love of self and allowing. Yeah, that's about it. Yeah, it's that simple. Like if you think of like, well, what we know of Jesus, and how he lived his life, right? It was all about love and 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 trusting and not trusting, but honoring people's paths, right? Just honoring that if they were obnoxious, he would honor that they were obnoxious. If they were, if they were thieves, right, that would steal, he would honor that, right? It was just a loving that person through whatever it is that they were deciding to live their life as.
Yeah. I think also though there was certain actions taken. I mean, who knows if it's true or not, but the money changes in the temples, when he turned over all of their tables and things like that, because it was like, this is corruption and it's affecting people. So there were times when he actually got the hit to take some action. So it just depends though how we do that. And to me, Jesus, Yeshua, however we express, to me, he was bringing through and gritting in the fifth dimensional template for us. It's like that Christ consciousness, which we actually have within us. And that's what I feel is that chrism oil within our pineal gland that they've tried so hard to stop us from opening and experiencing this beautiful gold chrism oil.
Yes.
So yeah, it was the fifth dimensional template that he was actually templating here and gritting in on earth.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Let's see, we don't have much time. Let me see if I have any other good ones here. I have to work to make money. That's one big one that I had to let go of. That's a limiting belief. You absolutely do not have to work to make money. That's totally a limiting belief. And we all believe it. We all believe it. But it's not true. It's not true. We can make anything happen. We can create anything to happen. So it's us believing that money doesn't grow on trees. Why it doesn't grow on trees, right?
And exactly, and it's interesting because I used to send the universe invoices when if I was doing beautiful energy work or something, I'd just go, right, I'm invoicing the universe. And I knew one day that was mine, and that would come back and be mine. And I feel like that's happening, and when I work, I do it. I actually really like it. I really love what I'm doing, and I get to choose how much of it I do when I do it. And so, like
Right.
you said, Elisa, we can create. So if we get the intuition to start doing something that's creative, and then to put it out there for people because we love it and we want to share it, that's not even work. That's just what you love. And then you're getting a reward. You're getting an exchange of energy for it. So
Right.
it depends how we look at things too.
Yeah, absolutely. So start thinking of, like Angel Lori says, I get paid to exist. Like I don't need to be, I don't need to, like, if you think about ETs don't get paid. That's not a thing. That's not a thing. So it let go of the belief that you have to work to get money or to get the things that you want. There's always trading, there's always bartering, there's always um, just, I would have to say that what I noticed is that the more I did things to help others, without expectation of anything in return. So, in other words, not a job. Um, that's when the return was provided for. So again, just thinking of doing what you love, which is not considered a job. So doing what you love with having the universe return paying you for being in joy. So
Yeah.
whatever it is that you do that gives you joy, then the universe is going to reward you for being in joy, because that's why we're here. One of the reasons why we're here. So what do you need to do to be always in joy?
Mhm.
And then that's what's going to happen. The universe will return that back to you one way or another. So that's another limiting belief, that you have to get a job, that you have to work to make money. Um, One limiting belief that I had was that I always had to be doing something. So, there was no sitting down and relaxing, or it was like every time I would sit down to watch TV, I would feel guilty. Every time. Every time I would sit down and read a book, I would feel guilty. So not everybody has this limiting belief. I'm just telling you that I had this limiting belief that was making me very uncomfortable, very uncomfortable to just really relax and watch my cat or watch an ant, run across the like, to be like we're here to also be and experience and be in the now moment, and we're just so um programmed to do something.
Elisa, do you also feel that maybe because you've got three children and it's a really big job, it's a full, usually 24/7 job having children, do you feel that maybe parenting, it's difficult to come out of that once they leave the nest or they become very independent? Do you feel that's a throwback from that?
Yeah, definitely could be that. I'm trying to think of back before college. Yeah, I don't know. I remember right after high school thinking like, well, I gotta go do something now. Like, so the summer break before college, I got a job, you know.
Yeah.
But I don't remember if that was imposed by my parents or if it was me.
Mm.
But I thinking it was me because I was very driven. I was very like, so, but yeah, I can see how being a mother would put you in that state of constant having to do something, or maybe somebody who's a nurse who works long, hard hours and they're used to it at the job, always going, 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 you know?
But it's
So,
interesting because I chose not to have children, and I was a nurse. But with that, you can leave the job at work. Yeah, you still think about some of your patients that you're going back to, but you can stop.
yeah,
Whereas I think with children, you go to work and then you've still got that job at home as well. So I could actually turn off, and I loved reading and I loved just watching a movie.
yeah. So, let's see, did you feel you always needed to stay busy? Because I have that too. Yeah, and I noticed that from friends here in my local group. I mean, people are always like, okay, so after yoga, I'm gonna go to play pickleball, and after pickleball, I'm gonna blah blah blah. Like their whole day is jam packed, jam packed. No time to be, no time to reflect, no time to meditate. Um, and it's what I'm saying. It's that belief that you always have to be doing something, or you're not being what's the word? You're not being, oh my God, not effective, but there's another word is not coming to mind.
Productive.
Productive. Yes. Yeah. Productive.
Whereas we can often be more productive when we're sitting in contemplation mode and doing our creating and our manifesting, because that's where it comes from.
Yes, absolutely. And that's huge. That's something that I learned. And I actually channeled that for a friend of mine back in the day. I had gotten a message that I would get more clients by going to meditate than I would by sending emails out.
Mm-hmm.
I actually got that download one time. So I had her do that. And the next day she got like $2,000 in cash and $500 or $800 in cash or something like that. So it's we you get more by being connected to the divine without any thought than you do by actual 3D effort.
Yep.
So yeah, it's amazing. So anywho, we're out of time.
Wow. What a great session. I love everyone's input. It's so
Yes,
good.
yes, absolutely. Thank you, everybody, for playing with us in this playground. And yeah, if there's any other topics that you think we should cover, let me know. And thank you for being here. And Maree, thank you so much. Jesse, thank you so much. And we'll see you all on Maree's dream show on Sunday. All right. Love you guys. Stay high vibing.